time on how my dad forced me into getting an abortion. And to this day, we still don't speak. So I started dating my boyfriend, Jason, when I was 15. My parents never really minded me having a boyfriend until I got with Jason. He graduated high school, and my dad didn't like the fact that he wasn't planning on going to college. He said that he was wasting his life, but in all honesty, my dad was upset because he was poor, and he felt as though he could never take care of me. There were times when my dad tried to pay him to break up with me, but he'd never take the money. And for me, that was just so embarrassing. Right before my 16th birthday, I found out I got pregnant, and I was kind of happy about it, even though I was still in high school. I've seen plenty of girls making it work. I, of course, told my boyfriend, and we told our family, but my dad wasn't happy about it. About a week later, he told me we were going to the doctors to go see how far along I was. When I get there, I found out I was in an abortion clinic. If you want to know what happened after that, let me know down below in the comments. This is part 2 of how my dad forced me into getting an abortion. So like I said before, my dad lied to me and told me we were going to the doctor to see how far along I was. And when I get there, turns out he sent me to an abortion clinic. I got upset asking what was he trying to do. He explains to me why I shouldn't have the baby. He tells me if I ever have the child, he would never support me and that he will kick me out of the house. And that sooner or later, me and Jason would break up, which he was sort of right about. I felt like at this moment I had no help, and I told my dad I wanted to call Jason. So he gave me a quarter to make a call on the payphone, and he didn't pick up. My dad explains to me that he's not reliable and that this will be the best decision for the both of us. I thought I didn't have a choice, and he manipulated and gaslighted me into getting it, which I didn't know what he was doing at the time, but I got the abortion, and right after, I felt so numb. I couldn't even face Jason, so my dad lied and told him that I had a miscarriage. It's been years since then, and I still have regrets knowing who my child could have been. Story time on how my boyfriend cheated on me with my best friend. In high school, I was not really popular, but I was talking to this one guy. Let's call him Nick. Nick was also known for cheating, but he told me that they were just all rumors. I also had a best friend, and let's call her Anna. So fast forward, we started dating, and one day I get a text from him saying, "Hey, can you come to my house tomorrow to watch a movie?" So I text him saying, "Of course, meet you at 7. He says, "Okay, see you." The next day, it was 6:30. I started driving to his house for the movie. Well, while I was driving, he probably texted me asking to cancel, but I was driving, so I didn't hear it. So I pull up at his house, and he's in his bedroom. Well, he must have seen me look at him because he looked like he was talking to someone and told them something about hiding. If you want a part 2, let me know down below in the comments. This is part 2 of how my boyfriend cheated on me with my best friend. So remember when I told you guys I was on my way to his house? Well, he texted me while I was driving to cancel the movie date, and I didn't know because I was driving. When I get to his house, he's telling someone to hide. I was curious, so I went to his house. By the way, I had a copy of his keys, and I went straight into his bedroom. And I can hear sounds coming from the closet, so I checked it. And it was my best friend, Anna. Story time of how I had an affair with my brother-in-law. By the way, I was 12 and he was 22. This happened a while back. I'm now 16. At the time, I was 12. I barely got on social media. I wasn't really supposed to have it, but I still had an account. So at a family party, I asked my brother-in-law if I could use his phone to go onto my account. He gave me his phone, but when I gave it back, I realized I forgot to log out, and I was, of course, texting other guys, and he obviously saw the conversations and read all of the messages between me and the guys, which I believe made him give hints to me, and he started talking to me, but I didn't really notice at the time. There were times when I did see him and he'd get very touchy. I would tell him to stop, but he told me if I ever told anyone about us, he was going to tell everyone, including my parents, that I was talking to other guys on social media. I didn't want to get in trouble, so I didn't say anything. If you want a part 2, let me know down below in the comments. This is part 2 of how I had an affair with my brother-in-law. By the way, I was 12 and he was 22. So, like I said earlier, he threatened to basically tell everyone that I was talking to other guys on social media if I told anyone about what was going on between us. I was scared because I wasn't allowed to have social media, so I played this game. Until I was 15 and he started inviting me to places alone. So I agreed, and he later forced me into doing nasty things. I had no other option because I knew if I spoke up about it, I'd be the one to blame. He started asking for pictures and I'd send them, but then I started to ask for things in return, like ordering things online for me. So it was going on for a while, and I would send him pictures in exchange for him to order stuff for me online. Until about a month ago, I was on my sister's iPad and I forgot to log out, and she saw all the messages of him asking for pictures, and thankfully I said no and kept denying it. Yes, I know I suck at logging off, but to this day, me and my sister barely. A story time about the worst date in my entire life. And ladies, this is why you should really know a guy before meeting up with him. By the way, we're calling him Slim Jim. So I met Slim Jim over Instagram. He was cute and he lived in my area. He did me about a date. So a couple weeks later, we went out to dinner. During our date, he seemed pretty cool, but he kept looking down at his phone. I didn't want to get upset because he wasn't my boyfriend. When we ordered, the guy literally gets $200 worth of food, and me, on the other hand, I got a $20 solid. But all throughout the date, he kept looking around and I was so confused. And he constantly said that he needed to go to the bathroom. He told me that he took medicine that made him go to the bathroom a lot. The last time he went to the bathroom, he was gone for like 30 minutes, and at that point, I was irritated and ready to go until a random girl walks up to me asking if I knew Slim Jim was here. I told her we were on a date, and she basically told me that she was his girlfriend and baby mama. If you want to know what happened after that, let me know down below in the comments. This is part 2 of the worst date in my life. And the reason why, ladies, you need to really know a guy before meeting up with him. So, like I said before, he left me at our table for like 30 minutes. And I got upset because I thought he was trying to ditch me to pay the bill. Well, then a couple minutes later, a girl comes up to me asking if I was on a date with Slim Jim. I told her yes, and she basically explained that she was his girlfriend and baby mom. Well, at this point, she was his ex-girlfriend. She starts telling me the craziest things about him, that he robs people and that he will soon be doing time for being a part of a murder investigation, and that I should stay away from him because he had HIV and that he gave it to her. I had to ask her, how did you find him? And she tells me that he takes all his new girls here. Then she leaves out the restaurant. 5 minutes later, Slim Jim comes back and tells me he thinks he dropped his wallet. In my head, I'm assuming that he's trying to make me pay for the $200 dinner. So I tell him that I have to go to the bathroom. I'm running out of time. This is part 3 of the worst date in my entire life, and the reason why you ladies need to really know a guy before meeting up with him. So his baby mom comes in and tells me the craziest things about him and then dips out. Slim Jim comes back out of the bathroom claiming he lost his wallet, so I had told him that I needed to go to the bathroom. When I get into the bathroom, I'm looking for an escape plan to leave out. When I get out of the bathroom, I walk the opposite way of her table and almost make it out of the restaurant. Next thing you know, I'm getting tapped on the shoulder and I turn around and it's him. I'm literally so confused because he was just sitting down the whole time. He asked me where the hell was I going, and I told him I was looking for the bathroom. He starts to act very weird. He walks me over to the bathroom and literally waits outside of the bathroom door until I get out. And guys, I didn't know what else to do. I needed an escape plan, and I saw a window in the bathroom and literally climbed out of the window to get away from this man. Then 2 weeks later, come to find out, he gets arrested and he's given 23 years in prison. This story time is how I purposely got pregnant so my boyfriend wouldn't leave our relationship. Well, leave me. So I've been with my boyfriend for 6 years and we started dating since we were both 19. When it came to the relationship, I was more so the breadwinner. I paid most of the dates and I was there for him emotionally. I would invest hundreds of dollars into his business ideas that failed, unfortunately. We even got an apartment, and at one point I was working, going to school, and paying for all of the bills, cooking, cleaning, and I never asked anything of him because I didn't want him to see me as a gold digger. And he would spend time playing video games and working on his rap music. It wasn't the best, but I believed in his dream. So I basically took care of him. A couple years later, his grandfather passed and left him $500,000 in his will. And at the time, he started to get really distant. He was using that money and never spent any on me. I expressed my concerns, and he said that he was done with the relationship. And from that moment, I lied and said I was pregnant. If you want to know what happened this is part 2 of how I purposely got pregnant so my boyfriend wouldn't leave our relationship. So, like I said, he was given $500,000 from his grandpa's will and wanted to leave me. So I lied and said I was pregnant. Now, I wasn't upset that he wouldn't give me part of the money. I always had my own money, and quite frankly, most of it would go to him. I was just hurt because I sacrificed and invested so much into this man to prosper, and once he was financially stable, he wanted to leave me. Now, at this time, I wasn't physically pregnant. I lied. Now, when he found out, he stayed with me, and I stopped taking birth control. So literally within 3 weeks later, I got pregnant. And even though he was with me, he wasn't really with me. He really didn't come to none of the appointments, and wouldn't check up on me. He became mean and started cheating on me. There's more to the story. Come back for part 3. This is part 3 of how I purposely got pregnant so my boyfriend wouldn't leave our relationship. So like I said before, I got pregnant and then he started to act really distant and he cheated on me. He told me he wanted to leave the relationship multiple times, but then again, his actions showed different because he'd always come around and did things that people in relationships would do. And around this time, money started to get tight. I would ask him if he could pay for certain things, and he would refuse and then started to say I was only with him for money. But what was crazy to me is that most of the relationship, he had nothing, and I was the one working. And still, when I was pregnant, I was the one working. And with the money he had got, he would buy himself nice clothes, got himself a car. And the girl he was cheating on me with, he bought her the most expensive clothes. And I wanted the relationship so bad that I allowed him to have side chicks. I never asked him questions, and he still never wanted me. A week before the baby's due date, he completely left me and went with the girl he was cheating on me with. If you want to know what I did after that, this is part 4 of how I purposely got pregnant so my boyfriend wouldn't leave our relationship. So a week before the baby's due date, he completely left me. I was devastated. I became depressed, suicidal. And because I was so stressed, the doctor said that I needed to calm down because my blood pressure started to get super high and that would be good for me or the baby. After the baby was born, he came around to see the baby. At some points, he tricked me into thinking we were getting back together. And once he had slept with me, he'd leave again and go back to the other girl. I tried to tell his new girlfriend about it, but she didn't believe me and called me crazy. I'd always see him make posts about her, spoil her, and everything. After 2 years, I got a therapist because I started to get anxiety attacks. And I found out I was codependent and I had abandonment issues due to my father not being there for me. And I was afraid of being alone and a man not truly loving me. And I allowed someone to treat me horrible because I didn't want to be alone. Regardless, no girl should have gone through what I did. All girls should love and put themselves first. This story time is from a follower, and she really needs advice. By the way, we're calling her Catherine, and she's 15. So Catherine has one arm, and she had to get her right arm removed due to health conditions. She just started going to a new school because her family moved. She has been there for 3 weeks, and she tried to make new friends, but it seems like every person that she has tried to talk to slowly stops talking to her. Like this one girl, which we're going to call Layla. Catherine talked about her just about every day for the past 2 weeks, but then on the 3rd week, she completely stopped talking to her. She wouldn't even say hi.